Good morning, students. This is Sampat Bhadu, Assistant Professor of English, Government College, Sri Dungargarh, Bikaner. Today, we are going to take up the next part of the poem entitled The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, composed by T.S. Eliot. Let's take up the next stanza. For I have known them all already, known them all, have known the evenings, mornings, afternoons. I have measured out my life with coffee spoons. I know the voices dying with a dying fall beneath the music from a farther room. So, how should I presume? And I have known the eyes already, known them all, the eyes that fix you in a formulated phrase. And when I am formulated, sprawling on a pin, when I am pinned and wriggling on the wall, then how should I begin to spit out all the but ends of my days and ways, and how should I presume? Actually, these lines are derived from T.S. Eliot's poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. In these lines, he tells us that he is indecisive. He takes one decision in 1 minute and reverses it in the next because he has known the ladies, their voices, their arms, and their eyes, which signify contempt for him. Contempt means dislike or ill will for him. He says that if that is so, he cannot be presumptuous enough to make the proposal of love. Even if he decides to propose, he does not know how he should begin. Prufrock says that the women are known to him in daily routine of tea parties and social gatherings, where he and his companions spend their whole time in the making and drinking of coffee. His life is measured not in terms of actions, but by the doses of coffee he can lift with his spoon to his mouth. His whole life has been a monotonous round of coffee drinking with the same set of people. He has known the voices of the singers in the next room and appreciates their dying cadence. So, his problem is an old one. In the face of the past failures, any fresh attempt to come to a decision seems to be problematic. He says that he cannot be certain that he would be able to propose to his lady love. The problem before Prufrock is neither new nor unexpected. It has become a part of his daily routine. He knows he has no courage to do anything or take a decision. He is an irresolute person where he and his companions spend their whole time in the making and drinking of coffee. His life is measured not in terms of actions, but by the doses of the coffee he can lift with his spoon to his mouth. His whole life has been a monotonous round of coffee drinking with the same set of people. Prufrock says that he remembers the sharp, pitiless gaze of the eyes that fix him as if they have already measured him to the top of his bent. He feels that they know his true character. In the face of his knowing stare, he has found himself in the pathetic situation of a poor worm fixed to the wall by a sharp pinpoint and wriggling there helplessly. Under such circumstances, he cannot presume to approach them and blurt out all of secret longings of his heart by allowing others to put out different versions of himself. Prufrock has extinguished his own life so far, like a cigarette that has burnt itself out on the lips of a smoker, leaving only the butt end. The butt end represent the trivialities which compose his life and personality by allowing others to put out different versions of life. Prufrock has extinguished his own life so far, like a cigarette that has burnt itself out on the lips of a smoker, leaving only the butt end. Prufrock is a man of the town whose emotional springs have gone dry. His love song is not the spontaneous effusion gushing out of the heart of a romantic lover. His love song is a suppressed desire of the heart which feeds upon itself and takes the form of self deprecation and introspection. Let's take up the next stanza. And I have known the arms already, known them all, arms that are braceleted and white and bare, but in the lamplight, downed with light brown hair. Is it perfume from a dress that makes me so disgrace, so digress? Arms that lie alone along a table or wrap about a shawl. And should I then presume? And how should I begin? Here he is hesitating, he is confused, he is not certain to make the proposal of love. Shall I say, I have gone at dusk through narrow streets and watched the smoke that rises from the pipes of lonely men in shirt sleeves leaning out of windows. I should have been a pair of ragged clothes scuttling across the floor of silent seas. Yes, these lines are taken from the long the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Actually, through his speech, he reveals his timid and complacent character. Prufrock is a timid man and has no courage to risk refusal. From the very start, he imagines one argument after another against his act of proposal to his lady love. He has enough time to propose. He is middle aged and she is young. He has known her contempt for him. Even if he proposes, he does not know how to begin. The whole drama occurs in Prufrock's mind. Prufrock does not move from his place. His journey to the hotel room is mental. In the introductory lines, he says, "Let's go then, you and I, like a patient etherized upon a table." Prufrock himself is the patient as well as the surgeon, and the operation implied is self dissection of soul. Prufrock has a split personality. You and I represent his two selves, the amorous and the timid, whose tepidite Tapitude is at the root of his indecision. Prufrock is conscious of his timidity, means cowardice, and wavering mind. He has no courage to disregard the consequences of his proposing to his ladylove. Prufrock remembers the scent of the female dress, which distracts his mind to the memory of female arms, white, bare, and braceleted arms lying alone on the table or clasping a shawl. They have soft brown hair, visible in lamplight, but they have not infused in him courage enough to make the proposal. He naturally finds it hard to make a fresh start and introduce the subject in a proper way. He does not think that he will be able to declare his love or the lady will give a favorable response. He does not even know how he should start the talk of his love for the lady. All this happens in his imagination. Prufrock is just thinking of all this drama in his mind. Prufrock is an irresolute person for whom the simplest decision is a matter of strain, speculation, and distress. His thoughts take the form of self depicting introspection and pitiless dissection of his own cowardice and irresolution. The memory of the lady's dress, arms, hair, etc., does not infuse in him the courage enough to make the proposal. He naturally finds it hard to make a fresh start and introduce the subject in a proper way. He finds it hard to propose to her. He thinks over the matter silently for some time and then outlines a tentative approach to the question. He thinks of several ways to propose to her. For example, he may begin with a reference to the lonely men in shirt sleeves leaning out of window with the smoke rising from their pipes. This may be a good hint at his own loneliness and boredom, which have compelled him to seek relief in love and marriage. But he cannot pursue the point and disgust it with his scrupulous mind. He prefers the life of a simple creature in the bed of the sea, which, driven by its natural instincts, rushes towards its prey, seizes it with its sharp claws, and devours it without a moment's thought vested over it. But man looks before and after, and procrastinates. Prufrock has merely watched the women without making any effort to intensify his acquaintance with them into any form of intimacy. Let's take up the next stanza. And the afternoon, the evening, sleeps so peacefully, smoothed by long fingers, asleep, tired, or it malingers, stretched on the floor, here beside you and me. Should I, after tea and cakes and ices, have the strength to force the moment to its crisis? But though I have wept and fasted, wept and prayed, though I have seen my head grown slightly bald, brought in upon a platter, I am no prophet, and here is no great matter. I have seen the moment of my greatness flicker, and I have seen the eternal footman hold my cot and snicker, and in short, I was afraid. I was afraid. The love song is sublime. Actually, it evokes the grand feelings that are associated with love poetry. But the second half of the title of J. Alfred Prufrock, his love for the name Prufrock, blends prudence with frock. It combines prudishness, intelligence, sharpness, with the respectability that marks the frock coat of a gentleman. This dress evokes the feelings that such a man cannot sing a love song. The story of the poem is indeed very thin. has to be extricated from Prufrock self revelations and description of his surroundings. Prufrock mentally plans to go to his lady love, who is enjoying herself in a party, and to propose to her. But he is a timid man and has no courage to risk refusal. From the very start, he imagines one argument after another against such an act. He is a coward. Even if he proposes, he does not know how to begin. He feels that she is likely to turn down the proposal. In the face of the past failures, he has no great hope of success if he tries again. Prufrock looks outside. He finds a reflection of his own tired self in the closing day. He imagines that, like a child lulled to sleep, real or pretended, he is lying still beside him. The closing day, split in two, you and I. He raises the problem again with the old question: if, after taking tea and refreshment, he can summon up courage enough to bring the matter to a crisis and stake his life upon the issue. But he himself replies in the negative. Prufrock, I am no prophet and there is no great matter. He refers to the story of John and Baptist in the Bible, who fearlessly denounced Herod for his adultery, with the result that his head was cut off and brought on a platter by the dancing girl Salome. Before Herod, there is a reference to this line in 30 of the poem. Prufrock has dreamt about, acted the part of the prophet, seen his own bald head brought in a platter in imagination. In point of fact, Prufrock knows that he is not a prophet. He lacks moral courage, and the issue before him is not momentous, temporary. He has seen the occasions in his life when he has played the coward and imagined that he was in the grip of death, the eternal footman. But death only mocked at his cowardice and let him survive. The occasion between body and mind is complete as Prufrock sees his head being brought to him on a platter as John the Baptist's head was brought to Salome. Sheepishly, he slips into his coat proffered by the eternally sneakering footman, a symbol of force from which it is impossible to escape, here dressed up as a rich and socially influential man's servant. His century representing upper class Prufrock has no strength to propose and thus precipitate the crisis. Nor does he consider the marriage proposal an important matter. So the crucial moment passes. He only imagines death holding his court and making at his crisis. Here the evening sleeps or pretends to sleep like a sleepy person. The metaphysical image of the etherized evening is reiterated or repeated. That's all for today. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.